Come on in the room. Welcome to everybody. Shout out to everyone wherever you are joining us from. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I appreciate you letting us move a little bit earlier because it is difficult to go to bed at 1 a.m. and wake up at 5 a.m. I used to do it. And when I say used to, I mean like last year, but I can't do it now. Stephanie, how are you? It's good to see you. Cynthia. Oh, wait a minute. Let me move these in the right place. Put this down here. Stephanie, it's good to see you. What's going on, Lewis? Definitely good to see you. Oregon is in the house. Motherly love. Blessings to you and yours. Reginald, my man. I see you, brother. Kyra, good to see you. Robin. Hey, so as you come in, I appreciate everyone speaking to me, but let's speak to each other. Speak to people as they come in. If you see somebody, you see some names you may not recognize, say hello to everyone. Just spread the love. When you can be kind, be kind. When you can't, take no prisoners. Jacqueline, what's going on? It's good to see you. Angry Panda, always good to see you over there on YouTube. Okay, thank you, Angie. I see your comment, Angie. I don't know that actually happened, but my kids are pretty sharp. They're okay. You're fine. Debbie, it's good to see you on Facebook. But Angie, I do appreciate your concern. I appreciate it. South Florida's in the house. I grew up in Broward County. Well, I grew up a lot of places, so I'm going to say I grew up, and I would have grown up in a lot of places, including Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida. And so South Florida was my stomping ground. Minnesota is in the house. That was my horrible Minnesota impersonation or accent. Good evening, Tony over there on, Tony on YouTube. Joyline from Australia. And what time is it in Australia? My goodness. So everybody just take a second to share and let's get it started. And I'm going to start, we're going to jump right in with New York's in the house. I see you, New York. Boulder, Colorado's in the house. The planet is in the house. There we go. The planet is in the house. Let's get started with some of these videos. I got a lot of content for us to go over tonight. A lot of shenanigans that is happening in our political world. And I'm going to do my best. And I think this is why you come. I'm doing my best to connect the pettiness and the ridiculousness of our day-to-day politics to broader strategies for us to progress humanity into the future. I think if our politics aren't pushing us into the future, we're not doing the right politics. I try to go from the asinine of our day-to-day politics to the sublime. I try. I don't always get it right, but I do try. So leave your comments in the comment section. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, particularly on YouTube. YouTube, my notifications aren't seeming to go out for most anyone. And so to that end, please go ahead and click the like button so we can beat back the algorithm. Last but not least, if you're a listener to the podcast, if you listen to the podcast, particularly the public podcast, I want to say something. I've been getting a lot of reports that there's some pretty sketchy advertising that goes on my podcast. I don't control the advertisers, but I can and I have sent messages to the platform to let them know that for instance, in California, there's Proposition 22, which is attempting to help companies like Uber and Lyft to categorize their drivers as independent contractors. If you vote yes for Proposition 22, then that means you support Uber's side. And if you support no, then that means you support the side of the workers. You're going to always find me on the side of the workers, period. So the ads that have been running on my podcast have been pro Proposition 22. My show and everything that I stand for is anti Proposition 22. I've sent in a letter or an email, how old am I? I've sent it in an email to the platform to let them know that that particular commercial won't run. I'll see if we can get some input or some feedback. But another way to consider it is it's funny. They spent that money to advertise on my show, but I have a show and a couple of shows where I'm talking clearly about labor rights, workers' rights, talking about Uber, but specifically one show where I talked against Proposition 22. So I guess that's one way to look at it. They're paying for me to counter their pro Proposition 22 amendment, proposed amendment in California. So that's one way to look at it. But I just wanted to at least acknowledge that on air, that I don't control the advertisers on my podcast, but I have sent them an email to go against it. Tony, hey, no, man. Hang on, scroll back up. I want to get Tony. Tony says, as an Uber driver, I really appreciate it. We appreciate you, man. And I hope that you guys are safe, that you all can be safe as you possibly can during this pandemic. I would be a lot more pro Uber if they actually did something to help you all out during this pandemic. Aaron, this doesn't make me feel good, but it's probably true. He said all of the ads are things on the wrong side of the issues. That's where the money side is on. So I just want to at least acknowledge it. I've never really acknowledged it on any of my platforms, and I keep forgetting to acknowledge it on the podcast. So I said, let me say it tonight, and maybe that way I can remember it tomorrow on the new podcast episode. Okay, let's get started. Before I share, I want you all to do the same and share, like, and subscribe. I want to pull up the videos, and I kind of misplaced all my videos just that quick. Hilarious. Let's see, show me that. Give me that folder. Give me this folder. And where are all of my videos that I just downloaded? Give me a second, folks. Oh, you didn't come here to have the most efficient show. If you want the most efficient show, you should go to don't even go to Msnbc right now. Because let me tell you why. I'm gonna filibuster with something really good while I find this. Just so you know, I'm filibustering while I find my video folder file, but it's something worthwhile. MSNBC is hosting Donald Trump in a town hall on the same exact day and the same exact time as Joe Biden's town hall. Now, this is in lieu of the debate that Donald Trump did not want to have because he did not want to do it virtually because he's a sociopath who wants to spread COVID-19. All right. That's number one. Number two, by rewarding him with his own town hall, this shows him. I mean, it's like a child that you give them a reward for their bad behavior. They're going to keep doing the same thing. But I guess that's kind of neither here nor there because Donald Trump is bound to be a sociopath regardless of if you give him, a cookie or not. The other thing is that doing it at the same time as Joe Biden's sets them against each other for a ratings competition. And that is something I really have a serious problem with because Donald Trump will do anything for ratings. And that's dangerous. And that's a problem. And that's counterproductive, especially when MSNBC has been screaming about how horrible Donald Trump has been. They've made billions of dollars over the last 4 years off of how bad Donald Trump is. But now you're inviting him to your platform. Like, with all due respect, like I'm not friends with any of them, but I know Chris Hayes. We follow each other on Twitter. We've talked. Who else from MSNBC? Oh, Ari Melber. Sorry. I've been on Ari Melber's show a couple times. So not trying to attack their platform per se. I'm not afraid of attacking their platform, but I'm just curious where the logic is. How does this compute? How does this work out where you have been talking bad about Trump all this time and now you're giving him a platform, but not only are you giving him a platform, you're setting him in direct competition with Joe Biden after 4 years of you telling us that he is a problem, that he is a fascist. In my best estimation, that type of person, you absolutely don't want to give a platform to. That type of person, if you give them a platform, you don't want to give them the platform at the same time you give the other candidate, especially when they could have had a debate, but they're not having a debate because this particular president doesn't want to have a virtual debate. So not only are you rewarding him for his bad behavior, but you're also giving him exactly what he wants, which is a competition based on ratings. That's a problem. I have a serious problem with that. Now, that said, I found the videos that I want to go over. I just wanted to put that up there to start the show. But yeah, Jeremy, let him go on Fox. Honestly, let him go on Fox. And Glenda's right over on Facebook. It's all about the money. MSNBC will be fine. They'll be fine if Donald Trump gets a second term. In fact, they'll make more money if Donald Trump gets a second term, just to be sure. All right, let's start with this man at a rally talking to his supporters, telling them that they're immune. Here is the President of the United States.
The FDA has been great to everyone fighting to recover from the virus. I feel your pain because I felt your pain. And we will beat this virus together. And for those, who has had it? Who has had it here? Who's had it? Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people. Well, you're the people I want to say hello to because you're right now immune. You're right now immune. Or they say that. You know, they hate to admit it because I had it. So in the old days, they said, well, if you have it, you're immune for life, right? Once I got it, they give you 4 months. They say you're immune. You know, it's anybody else but me. You're immune for life. Through Operation Warp Speed.
Can I play that again? Just the last part. I want to play it again.
I hate
Listen.
to admit it because I had it. So in the old days, they said, well, if you have it, you're immune for life, right? Once I got it, they give you 4 months. They say you're immune. You know, it's anybody else but me. You're immune for life. Operation Warp Speed.
So I cannot stress how dangerous it is to have the most powerful man in the country, on the planet, not because of Donald Trump, but because of his position as President of the United States. I cannot stress how dangerous it is to have a person with that size platform spreading misinformation and lies, especially lies that specifically will get someone killed. Because there was a news story today. I forgot which state this woman was from. Actually, I think she was from another country. An elderly woman who contracted COVID-19 twice. And the second time, it killed her. She died. We don't know the extent to which your immunity lasts. And so for the President of the United States to just be saying, oh, it means you're immune. That is extremely dangerous. Let me demonstrate to you why it's dangerous. Number one, most of you come to this program for any number of reasons. I think the number one reason is what I look for when I listen to somebody. I like to hear people who are saying things that I've been thinking, but I haven't heard said yet. I love that. Stay with me. I'm going to show you exactly how dangerous it is to have Donald Trump saying these things. But the second thing that a lot of people come for is to hear affirmations about our beliefs, about what we're fighting for, to hear that you're not alone in a certain sentiment, to see the broader community, right? To see how many people. It's like an appeal to the masses, where you say, oh, all of these people, he's got like 900 people watching him right now across the different platforms. And he's saying the same thing that I believe. And so you get that sense of confirmation and affirmation. And how does it generally make you feel, right? It makes you feel emboldened. It makes you feel confident. It makes you feel like, yeah, I knew I was right and I can go out here and conquer the world in this one specific area. I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just a streamer. I'm just a podcaster. If I can give you that sense of affirmation, imagine if I was the President of the United States telling you what you believe and confirming what you believe and giving you a sense and a feeling of affirmation. If you get that from a YouTuber, from a podcaster, from a streamer, imagine what these people are getting when Donald Trump is telling them that they are immune because he's the president of the United States. Remember when he first floated hydroxychloroquine? Remember when that couple, the elderly couple, went out and took a variation on hydroxychloroquine? The husband died, the wife got extremely sick, and the wife was like, she was so angry because she said, I trusted the president of the United States. There are people who literally look at Donald Trump and they don't see his oafishness. They don't see his ridiculousness. They don't see his stupidity. What they see is the president of the United States confirming to them what they believe, giving them a sense of affirmation, a sense of confidence. And so they go out based on the information that Donald Trump gives them, and they do stupid stuff that ends up getting them killed. And he's never held accountable because people are like, oh, well, you know, he's just talking. No, the president of the United States, the full authority of the government, the federal government, is what's speaking through him. And people have a natural inclination to get that sense of confidence and affirmation from people that they trust. That's why it's particularly dangerous. All right, let's go to the next clip.
And now I'm immune, they tell me. I'm immune. I could come down and start kissing everybody. I'll kiss every guy, man and woman, man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him. Not with a lot of enjoyment, but that's okay.
This man is an absolute moron. Just listen to this clown again. A moron.
And now I'm immune, they tell me. I'm immune. I could come down and start kissing everybody. I'll kiss every guy, man and woman, man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him. Not with a lot of enjoyment, but that's okay.
The most important part, not his foolishness. There's two things to this. The first part is he's doubling down on this idea that he's immune, when in fact, I don't even think he's healed. He's not cured yet, right? That's number one. Number two, the second part of it is the clown show. You hire a circus, you're going to get a clown show, right? It's a comedic sketch. It's a routine. He says anything to get laughter. And sometimes it's actually in a sadistic way, kind of funny. But when you think about the seriousness behind what he's saying, but it ceases to be funny. I bring that up, though, because this really shows you why MSNBC giving Donald Trump this platform is particularly problematic, because he's a clown. He knows how to entertain. His entire shtick is not to be serious about the issues, but to make everyone laugh and to make a scene. And MSNBC giving him this platform when they absolutely know this is exactly what he's going to do. They're doing it for ratings. They're doing it for the money that they're going to get out of it at the expense of America and Americans. All right, let's go to one more clip from Donald Trump and then we'll move on to the next story.
Aliens, raise your taxes, confiscate your guns, get rid of your Second Amendment. I mean, here's one that's incredible. Destroy your suburbs. Okay, so they talk about the suburban women. And somebody said, I don't know if the suburban woman likes you. I say, why? But we had this. I love you too. They said they may not like the way you talk, but I'm about law and order. I'm about having you safe. I'm about having your suburban communities. I don't want to build low-income housing next to your house, okay, if that's okay. And I ended the regulation, the rule that made the zoning so impossible that you had to destroy your communities. And then I hear the suburban woman. I think that the suburban woman, and I used to say suburban housewife, I used to take heat, but I said, does anybody care? Do you care if I say suburban? No, they're all going, no. Again, the only one cares is them. Trump said suburban housewife, but I didn't say it because I don't. You learn very quickly. But suburban women, they should like me more than anybody here tonight because I ended the regulation that destroyed your neighborhood. I ended the regulation that brought crime to the suburbs. And you're going to live the American dream, and that's what you're going to do. And remember this, 29% of the people experiencing the American dream in the suburbs happen to be minority. And you don't know that. But 29%, and we're doing this for everybody. We're not doing it one way or the other. We're doing it. And I ended it. They said, sir, we can amend it. I said, no, I don't want to amend it. I want to end it. It was a horror show. And this loser, Cory Booker, is the guy that's going to be in charge of the program. The guy's a stone-cold loser. 1%. He got 1%. He ran. He was going to be great. 1%. Every week. He was like her. Down, down, down. They should have picked him. But no, he'll be in charge of your suburban. So can I ask you to do me a favor? Suburban women, will you please like me? Remember? Please.
All right, enough of this clown show. One, he's doing bad with suburban women. Okay. He's doing his best to not say suburban white women, because that's specifically who he's doing bad with, suburban white women. He's not performing well with suburban white women, but he can't say that because he's already in trouble for the racist dog whistle of, I'm going to protect you from, number 3, the low income housing being built next to you, which is clearly a dog whistle, because even if he's not talking about the racist connotation that's usually applied to low income housing, he knows what he's doing. He knows he's inferring there that he's referencing black people there as a dog whistle. But even if it wasn't talking specifically about black people, low income people are human beings. Low income people are not predisposed to crime, right? Crime is an economic phenomenon, but that's an issue of resources in communities, not an issue of character. And so even if he's not talking specifically about black people, it's still problematic as hell, because poor people are human beings no matter what race they are. But all that to say, he's putting on this clown show so that he can absolutely try to win back some of the suburban white women that he has been losing. But we're only, 20 days out? Too little, too late. Trish on Twitter said he's trying to scare us. Exactly. That's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to make you think that those poor minorities, those impoverished minorities are going to go over and, steal your suburban lifestyle from you. Okay, Trump. Anita on Facebook said he gives me anxiety. Well, yeah, he gives me heartburn. Not for real, but I feel you on the anxiety thing. Is it still a dog whistle when this is overtly racist? I think that's just a regular whistle. It's a bullhorn at that point. I agree. We're well past the dog whistle. We are at the bullhorn at this point. There it is. I like this from Larissa on YouTube. Said Trump hates poor people no matter what color. He can't even take care of the homeless people. I mean, he doesn't want to take care of them. He absolutely does. Donald Trump wouldn't know how to get to the suburbs. Let's be sure. He doesn't just hate poor people. He hates the middle class people. The suburbs is an affront to his metropolitan Manhattan lifestyle, right? His gold-laced toilets in his skyrise apartment in Manhattan. You think Donald Trump actually gives a damn about suburban? I live in the suburbs. And I can tell you, Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about anybody in the suburbs, because we just make too little money for him to actually care about, because we can't help him get out of his $400 million in debt. Here it is. Isaiah on YouTube said, we're going to take all their white women. That's essentially what he says. AKOK on YouTube, I see your comment, but I'm not going to put it on the screen just because. H.D. Wells on Twitch said he gives me indigestion. Absolutely. All right, let's jump to the next story. I'm tired of talking about Donald Trump. Enough of him. Actually, I want to dovetail the suburban white women conversation with this clip from Fox News. Let's take a look.
An op-ed in the New York Post highlights some of the suburban moms and suburban women who might help President Trump win the election. And we are joined by two of them. Christina, tell the folks at home your story.
My grandfather came here as a legal immigrant from Yugoslavia. And, he was in the union because he worked for the steel mill. and unions always supported the Democratic Party, so my family was Democrat. As time went on, I started to have a closer relationship to God, and I started to realize my morals and values were more of what the Republican Party was. And then when I met my husband...
But what? Hold on. Wait a minute. I know this is supposed to be about suburban white women, but I can't let that slide. Y'all know I do too much work on the evangelical church to let that slide. She said that because she got closer to God, she believed that she should be aligned with the Republican Party. How, Sway? How? How does it work? How does it work when the Republican Party is the party of death? They are not the party of life. They're only a party of life up until the moment of birth. And after that, you're on your own, kid. Right? They're the party of forced hysterectomies. They are the forced sterilizations. They are the party of the death penalty. They are more than happy to execute you. They are the party of endless wars. They are the party that started these endless wars. A lot of people give Barack Obama hell for not ending these wars, but they don't give Republicans and George W. Bush enough pain for starting these wars. They are the party of death. They are the party of 210,000 people being killed by COVID-19, and they still out here playing Bobo the Fool. Boo-boo the Fool. You get it. That's number one. They are the party of death. How? Because they oppose same-sex marriage? Have you checked what their regular marriages are like? Have you checked what Jerry Falwell Jr. was doing at Liberty University? Have you really looked into the morality of all these preachers, of all these evangelical leaders? Have you looked at the fact that Christian marriages fall apart at the same rate, if not higher, than non-religious, non-Christian people? Have you looked at the fact that even though you call yourself the party of life, 65% of people who obtain abortions are Christian? It is because the evangelical movement in this church has successfully convinced their parishioners that the only morality that their God is interested in is sexual morality as they define it. To be sure, they have convinced their followers that the only morality that God is concerned about is sexual morality as their preacher defines it. Pay no attention to any other type of morality. Economic morality, social morality, endless wars, unjust wars. Pay no attention to any of that. I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to be talking about suburban housewives, but just hearing that much was like, I just couldn't let that slide. Let's go.
Who and his family, they are very strong Republicans and very conservative family. I started to realize that I was in the wrong party, and I changed to Republican.
So you'll be voting for President Trump?
Yes, I will be.
Okay, Carla, how about you? I know you almost did not vote for President Trump in 2016 because of his lack of a track record. Have you changed your mind?
Yes, he now has a track record. He has almost a 4-year track record. And before March, when the virus hit, the economy was doing so well, an excellent economic track record for President Trump, in my opinion.
Do you think
yes.
Do you think he'll bring the economy back once we get over this pandemic?
Yes, I really think he can. I really think he can bring the economy back. And we need someone with the right policies to do that, because it really is a crisis right now.
Christina, what are your friends saying?
Wait a minute. I'm not trying to pick on these suburban white women. But if you understand that it is a crisis right now, how can you expect the man who exacerbated the crisis to actually fix the crisis? I don't even know if I should finish playing this because I don't want to be seen as attacking these suburban white women. But just the level of ridiculousness is at a fever pitch. And I know that goes without saying, but I do want to keep playing it because I want you to understand the extent of the political derangement that we're dealing with, because what we can clearly see is problematic to the point of undermining the stability of our nation. Like, we can look at Donald Trump and see that he's so problematic that this democracy may not survive. They look at Donald Trump and see a hero. And I think it's sobering for you to realize that the commitment that they have to their pathetically backwards worldview. So yeah, let's keep suffering through it. All right, here we go.
President Trump will win, or do you think it'll be close?
I think he will win. I really do. I think people will realize that he is who we need. We need a strong leader, and he will win.
Carla, what did you think about his message yesterday? He's gotten a lot of criticism.
Yes, well, I have more to say about the criticism in a way. I was, surprised by the media criticizing him for trying to take on the correct role of the leader, to encourage us not to be afraid in this very difficult time. That is the classic leadership role that he took with his message. I think it was the right thing for him to do. And it's just an example of the media hysteria, how they spin it, and they are constantly trying to campaign so that he doesn't win re-election in November. And thought it was an excellent approach to the current situation and to his release from the hospital and trying to encourage the American people.
Did you read any headlines?
Yes, this morning I had a glance at the New York Times website, and that is exactly what I'm referring to with media hysteria. I don't think the New York Times is credible at all. I mean, I can't believe the way they are constantly criticizing Trump, even when he, in my opinion, does the right thing as the leader of our country.
Okay. At that point, it was getting a little egregious. I was just enjoying all of your comments, and I hope everyone else was enjoying your comments because Cenk was funny. Elizabeth, sweetie, I need you to get up off the ground and go where you're going. All right, let's go. They think they're slick. All right, let's keep moving. Let's move on to the next clip. On the other hand, you have some people who supported Trump originally, and I got to put this on before I keep going. I just got a super chat that has to go up. Y'all are wild, but I love y'all, all of you. Bridget Graham said, I am enormously embarrassed by white suburban women. Don't worry. Listen, I'm enormously embarrassed by Ice Cube right now. So we all got some people in our community that we're like, wish, we would trade them in the racial draft if that was still going on. All right, take a look at this next clip. This is a clip of a former white woman, suburban white mom who voted for Donald Trump, who's like, I regret that vote. Take a listen. If this crashes, I'm going to, don't you crash on me.
Probably a good example of someone who's gone through a lot of change in 4 years. I can tell you how I felt 4 years ago. Shame.
Do you regret your vote?
Where we are today, yes, I do. I don't think this is the great again that everyone thought it was going to be.
So Holly is voting for Joe Biden, and so is Nin Bell.
What drew you to Donald Trump? Why did you vote for Donald Trump, Nin?
For his celebrity, 100%.
It was the brand?
It was.
The image?
Absolutely. Successful, funny. Like, he was funny. I loved his show, The Celebrity Apprentice.
Wait a minute.
Never missed it.
Was there a moment when...
Hold on. I got to pause there. I literally just said this. I said this like two stories ago, when I was talking about MSNBC, and I pointed out in that little segment, she said his celebrity and he was funny. This is why you can't MSNBC doing this is simply aiding and abetting Donald Trump at this juncture, because they are going to specifically be promoting his silliness, his foolishness, his tomfoolery, what people look at and laugh at. Here's the thing, folks. Everybody occasionally laughs at the class clown. You don't elect him as president of the United States. Now, I don't know if anybody else has ever said that, but damn it, that's a good ass line. And if y'all tweet it out, make sure you credit me. Everybody occasionally laughs at the class clown, but you don't elect him president of the United States. And you certainly don't elect him president of the United States two times in a row. That's a good ass line, Ben. All right, let's keep going. I'm an idiot. Let's keep going with this woman who regrets her vote.
Decided I cannot support him anymore.
It was almost instantly.
It's not just outside the cities where suburban women are questioning their support for Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. It's even out here in Westmoreland County, rural Pennsylvania, considered Trump country, We're about to meet two of them. Are registered Democrats, and both voted for Trump in 2016.
I feel like I've been duped. I got it wrong, and it hurts my heart. I mean, it truly hurts my heart because the things that I saw I didn't take seriously enough.
Throughout the campaign, he was making sexist, misogynistic remarks. And then there was the Access Hollywood tape. How did you guys process and digest that, being out there and voting for him?
It was not easy. I look at myself and I think, how could I do that?
I feel like I did a disservice to women by voting for this guy.
Was there a moment in the last 4 years when you said, I can't do this again?
The COVID pandemic, the way.
I am so sorry, everybody. This is going to be so ridiculous of me, but her microphone sounds amazing and her voice sounds amazing. I got it. I had to say it. Listen to how great her voice sounds, but more importantly, listen to what she's saying. I'm sorry.
He handled it. That was the absolute last straw for me. He didn't create the virus, but he kind of left us all in the dark guessing what was going on, and that wasn't fair to us.
George Floyd's killing was a pivotal moment for me. And when I read that he was begging for his mom, as a mother myself, it just brought me to my knees. And to see what's happened since, I feel like he's added fuel to flames of hatred, and that really bothers me.
Nin Bell, who registered as a Republican in 2016 just to vote for Trump in the primaries, now protests weekly in her town just outside Philadelphia, often met by groups she used to consider herself a part of, Trump supporters setting up counter demonstrations.
But I think Trump kind of thrives on that division. I see it in my own town.
Integrity. That's what we're lacking.
And accountability.
Yeah.
Being the mom of a 9-year-old, that's one thing that I push with my son all the time is, you made a bad decision. It's your fault. You learn from it. You move on. We have a president who nothing that happens is ever his fault. It's always somebody else's fault.
Well, there are consequences.
There are consequences. He's about to find them out.
Wow. Hang on. I want to pull up this last comment. Somebody is really excited on Facebook with that long behind comment. But Tony on YouTube, he said, why the heck did it take them so long? I guess there weren't enough red flags. I am curious. Is there anybody in the audience? And we're not going to clown you. We're not going to clown you. We have about 1,500 people who are watching right now. Is there anybody in the audience who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and you're not voting for him in 2020? The reason I ask is because I really want to. It's too late to be angry about 2016, right? But I am curious as to why. Because hearing them explain that they were, captivated by his celebrity, they thought that he was funny. They, were duped, all these things. For you to fall for that, I just need to know. I just want to know, is there anybody? So I'm going to pause for a second. I don't even want to finish my comment. I want to see if there's anybody in the audience. And again, we're not attacking. Listen, if they are brave enough to admit it, don't attack them in the comment section. Not me. Hell no. Hang on. I might as well just put these up because I don't think anybody's going to confess it. Everybody's saying no. Hell no. Absolutely not. Not me. Not a chance. Hell no again. No. All right. So like I said, Donald Trump is doing bad with suburban white women. 53% of white women voted for Trump in the 2016 election. It's going to be curious to see what percentage. But here's the gag. The catch is, though, he still definitely has enough support to win. I know Joe Biden is up by double digits, which is rare at this close to the election. Normally, the polls converge towards the election, especially in 2016. Right now, the polls, they had a divergent week last week. And that really signals that it's a bad road ahead for Donald Trump, which is great. The bad news is that we can't count on those polls. And you see on my lower third at the bottom, vote.org. If you haven't already voted, please make sure you still have time. It may be too late for you to check on your registration in most states, but not every single state. And also, it's getting really close to voting by mail. It's almost too late to vote by mail, but you can at least confirm your registration. You can absolutely find out your early voting locations, and you can go vote early. So we don't want to take any of that for granted. We got to do our part to get this class clown of a president who happens to be presiding over one of the biggest pandemics we've had in this country's history. And if he remains in power, sadly, we will probably far exceed the deaths from the Spanish flu of 1918. And that's only because of how utterly ridiculous Donald Trump is. And even though these women voted for Donald Trump in 2016, you can make a mistake once. I'm glad that they are correcting that mistake in 2020. Bobby Vincent on YouTube, I saw your comment and I have to agree. It is absolutely ridiculous to pick a president based on celebrity. Cheryl K on YouTube said he's a sadistic bully and a classless clown. Love it. Absolutely. Let's get a couple of more clips. Let's shift gears. Nope. I want to play one more clip here about Donald Trump, and then we'll shift gears.
Mr. President, final question. Some industries have been very hard hit by the pandemic, like the cruise industry, the airline industry, the hotel industry, the restaurant industry. When do you think those industries will be able to recover and be back to where they were before the pandemic?
Yeah, it's one of the toughest questions because, you know, that this was a vicious pandemic, a vicious disease, especially if you're of a certain age, et cetera, et cetera. I know people in the cruise industry, they were sailing high. They didn't have a problem in the world. All of a sudden, they're fighting for their lives. Same thing with hotels and other industries. We are trying to help them. It's going to happen. I think the vaccine is going to be a big factor. I also think it's rounding the turn with or without. It's just rounding the turn. It will get back. We are trying to help, and we're trying to get some stimulus money, which I think is very important for certain industries, certainly the airline business. You know, people aren't exactly hopping into airplanes to travel. And then you go to Europe and you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Who's going to do that? Is there anybody in the world that's going to do that? So we're working with other countries. It's all going to come back. This thing is going away, and it's all going to come back. But in the meantime, I'd like to see the Democrats loosen up a little bit. You know, all they want to do is bail out their badly run cities and states.
All right, let's stop it there because the first part is the part that I want to talk about. COVID's not going anywhere. 2 days ago, we had 50,000 new cases in a single day. COVID's not going anywhere. And again, I have to reiterate, let me start here. There's a level of ridiculousness that exists in every single person. All you got to do is find the right lever to pull, and you could find and expose how all of us fall prey to something ridiculous. Varying degrees, it's not an equivalence. Varying degrees, right? I just want to start there because the second thing I'm going to say is very true. Even if you put the most responsible president in the White House, there would still have been a segment of society that would not have taken this pandemic seriously. But when you have a president in the White House who continuously says things that are erroneous and dangerous, he takes that small group of people who would have a negligible effect on the totality of this country, right? In terms of us surviving it. You take the president of the United States and you give him the mindset of someone who foolishly dismisses information and science. You make them the president of the United States. You give them the biggest platform in the country, in the world, and you let them say all of the idiotic things that group says. And you take that small group from having a negligible effect on the spread of this pandemic, and you create a high percentage of people in this country who are not taking this pandemic seriously. And for that reason alone, this pandemic is not turning any curve. It's breaking the curve. It's breaking the curve. 50 some odd thousand people infected with COVID-19 in a single day. And the president of the United States is still telling people that it's getting ready to go away even without a vaccine. The level of danger of Donald Trump is putting people's lives in danger. Donald Trump is killing people. And he's not through yet. The fact of the matter is all of us have, in a way, some form or fashion, we've kind of adjusted to this pandemic. I've gotten comfortable in isolation and just spending all day, every day, of every hour, of every minute, of every second with my family. And I love it. Absolutely love it. I've adjusted to not going out of the house. I've adjusted to not going out to bars. I've adjusted to not, whatever. But the reality of it is although we have all kind of adjusted and this is now the new normal for us, the isolation is the new normal, the knowingly and willingly avoiding public spaces and public gatherings. And we have just and this is why we have so many people hanging out tonight. It's because we don't have physical touch anymore. We have internet touch. As normal as things are now, this shit is not normal. This pandemic and how Donald Trump is handling it is not normal. Humans have a great capacity to adjust to absurdity. To be quite honest with you, I'm rather surprised that this country is still standing after 200,000 people have died because of the direct actions of not only Donald Trump, but our leadership in general. I'm kind of surprised, but then at the same time, when I understand our capacity to adjust to absurdity, I get it. My question always then is at what point will enough be enough? Because we've adjusted. We've acclimated. We've gotten used to this. We've gotten used to them putting the lives of our loved ones at risk. We've gotten used to them actually killing our loved ones. We've gotten used to it so much so that the governor of Florida can open up the bars. And now we've gotten so used to it that the president of the United States can get away with saying, oh, we're turning the curve on COVID-19. No, we're not. On an average day, we lose about 500 people. On a bad day, we've lost more than 1,300 people. We've had how many 9/11s? But because of our capacity as human beings to adjust to trauma, right? This is how you take a person who is used to living a normal, peaceful life and you throw them into a war scenario, into a survival scenario, and eventually they will adjust, and their new normal is a life of chaos and war. So then the real question is at what point, rather, what's the breaking point? How many people have to die? How long will we put up with this government presiding over the deaths of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people? What's our number? What is our number before we say, holy crap, enough's enough? Is it 300,000? Because we'll be there soon. Is it 500,000? We probably will be there before January. Is it 1 million? Donald Trump gets reelected, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 1 million. Is it 2? I mean, at what point does the absurdity become so big that we're knocked out of our stupor and we're knocked out of this great capacity that we have to adjust to absurdities? See, every single one of you who are watching me, I want to tell you, you have a superpower, but it's also a curse. You have a superpower that is also a hindrance. That superpower is you have the ability to live on edge. Every one of us. Unless you're just born wealthy, You might be wealthy now, but most of us probably didn't start out wealthy. Some of us have been living paycheck to paycheck our entire life. And I use that as an example because if you live poor, if you've been paycheck to paycheck, you know what it's like to live on edge and to be comfortable living there. Some of us live on edge and have no clue whatsoever how we're going to pay our rent on the first of the month. No clue. We got to figure it out. And you know what? We have been so accustomed to that trauma that we don't have the anxiety. We're just used to it. We'll figure it out somehow. We compartmentalize that trauma. We pack it away. We store it away because thinking about it every day is too much to bear. And just like you've adjusted to the trauma of living without being able to know how you're going to pay your rent or how you're going to feed your kids. Let me tell you one of the hardest things that I've ever, as an adult, as a married man, as a father, we have had some really hard times. We got rid of Michael Bloomberg and we've been doing pretty good since. But before we got rid of Michael Bloomberg, we had some really, really, really hard times. And I will never forget, it was one morning before school and my kids wanted to get some ice cream at school. It was $1 each. This was like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I didn't have $1 to give my kids. I did not have, because we had been stretched. We were living on the edge. The rent was paid, right? The lights were on. Their stomachs were full. Their clothes were clean. So in that way, we were tremendously successfully blessed. But we couldn't go one step further than that. So when I talk about these things, I don't care how good my camera looks. I don't care how nice the background looks. I talk about this from a depth of experience that most of you in the audience actually identify with. That's trauma. And you know, we adjust, we adapt. Why? Because we have to. That's a superpower. That is our survival mechanism. That's the only way we can survive. And guess what they are taking advantage of right now? Guess what our political leaders are taking advantage of right now? Guess what they're counting on right now? They're counting on the fact that we will just adjust, that we will adapt, that we will survive. And because of that, they have been able to get away with 210,000 deaths because they know we're going to adjust. We're going to adapt. We're going to survive. My question is what point do we snap? Because what I fear, I'm not saying this to instigate the snapping. I fear that if we keep holding this in, everybody knows what happens when you hold a trauma in and you just keep packing on, piling on, packing on, piling on. Everybody knows what happens. You usually explode. And if you explode, if America collectively explodes and lashes out at a level that is commensurate with the trauma that this political system, led by Donald Trump, governed by both political parties, ruled by the ruling elite, the oligarchs and the billionaires, if the collective American body politic actually snaps at a level that is commensurate with the amount of trauma that they have put us through in 2020 alone. Let me read your comments. I'm just putting them on the screen. Marcy, this is the point, ultimately. Thank you. Because in my whole rant, I forgot about this. They are doing herd immunity, which means millions will die. That's where we are. The government of the United States, the entire power structure, right? Because you could tell who's going along with something by who's being quiet about it. the entirety of our political system has wagered. They have weighed, let me correct that. They have weighed our lives in the balance. On the one side is human life. Of the scale is human life. On the other side of the scale is their quarterly profit margins, the economy. Really, their quarterly profit margins. They have weighed our lives, the collective 330 million lives. And they figure if we shut down the economy to save human lives, we could lose hundreds of billions of dollars. Now, mind you, 45 million people have lost their jobs right now. Mind you that people are sitting in bread lines right now. So the economy for real people in this country, the economy has been devastated anyway. You compound to that the fact that we refuse to shut down this government in this country in order to stop this pandemic. Now you have 45 million Americans who have no job, who are still living and trying to survive in a pandemic, not to mention the other 100 million Americans, 200 million Americans who have been living paycheck to paycheck and have been living on that proverbial edge that I was talking about. And they still have to contend with the pandemic. Oh, but the billionaires in this country, they were like, I know these lives may think that they're important, but they're not as important as our quarterly profit margin. And you know what this government has decided? This government has decided 2 million lives. They have calculated that 2 million lives, that's the threshold. It'll cost us almost 2 million lives to get herd immunity, if we can even get herd immunity. And you know what these billionaires and their politicians and this ruling elite has said? Let's do it. They would rather lose 2 million American lives than to lose a couple $100 billion in wealth collectively. And they have poor people out here thinking. I want to put this as an addendum. They have poor people, some of the people that you see on social media, knowing they living on the edge, knowing they living paycheck to paycheck, knowing that they are suffering just like the rest of us. They have them thinking, well, if you shut down the economy, then people are going to die. You fatuous moron. The economy of your street. I don't even want to call it Main Street. That's too cliche. The economy of your street was devastated back in March, and they only gave you $1,200 to survive. And you're sitting here caping on behalf of billionaires and their quarterly profit margins when they have clearly demonstrated that they'll let millions of us die to protect their profits. How long, how far, how much can we absorb? The movie, our fiction novels and our movies, they can't even capture this absurdity. You can never write about this absurdity of our moment. You can never write it. Nobody would, no publisher would publish it. They would say it's too absurd. It's just too ridiculous. There's no way 200,000 people can die and the people do nothing. There's no way 210,000 people can die as a result of a government and the people do nothing. That's just not possible. Here we are. Here we are. All right. Here we are. All right, let's watch another video. Actually, I should take a pause. This is a good pause. I don't want to get too far behind. I want to recognize everyone who has been donating and sending super chats. As I do this, make sure that if you haven't voted already, you need information, you see at the bottom, vote.org. Make sure you go there to know your status in terms of your registration and where you should go to vote, etc., etc., etc. I want to go to the YouTube super chats. Let me just give it time to load up. Actually, that's not my fault. I mean, it's not my producer's fault. It's my fault. I'm literally in the wrong folder. I'm in the folder from last week. We have updated our protocols and I need to go to Slack. And I just want to recognize everyone who's been helping out and participating and supporting with the super chats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's start here. Cato Liberal, KD. I have no idea how to say y'all names on Twitch. Y'all names on Twitch be wild, man. KDo Liber 2015 subscribed on Twitch. Thank you so much for subscribing. Jamer Anzi said Trump skipped out on the debate in the primary in 2016. Did he? I don't recall that. I remember suffering through 3 excruciating debates. But let me know. Maybe that happened. I can't remember. Here's a good comment. Trump won't do a virtual debate, but he did a virtual speech with the New York Economic Club today. Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out. H2 Wells, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub. We appreciate that. You've given 2 gift subs. On Twitch, you can become a subscriber yourself, but you can also gift one. You can, help someone else subscribe to our work. Yes Star says, Benjamin Dixon, it gives us hope. Thank you so much. Necro Merlin says, I don't feel bad for anyone who trusts this president when Sean Spicer came out the gate lying about the crowds in the inauguration. If you are going to lie about something as petty and trivial as that, I knew the truth was dead. That was so long ago. I know it was like 4 years ago, but that feels like 20 years. That feels like two administrations ago. But I remember that. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Mean Bean says, hi, Ben. Amy EC3 says, hi. We rated her the other night. She, I think someone gifted her a subscription to our channel. So tell her we said hello again. The Netoist. I actually got that right. I remember your pronunciation. This is what they said. My dad was looking at rifles at the local gun shops. They are sold out. And the few that are in stock are 3 times the price from several years ago. Now my dad is actually afraid. Said he's never seen anything like this. H.T. Wells has gifted another tier 1 sub and cheered. Thank you for so much support, H.T. Wells. I appreciate you. K-Love on YouTube says he wants them to fear, speaking of Trump, wants the suburban housewives to fear people in low-income housing, but not fear a deadly virus. I don't know what kind of Twilight Zone episode I'm living in. Hey, sis, you were so right. Speaking of Twilight Zone, I'm so sorry, y'all. This is how my mind works. Twilight Zone, that means CBS plus whatever. The good news. There's only one good news in this entire year, 2020. There's only one bit of good news. Star Trek Discovery is coming out with a new season tomorrow. And only reason I'm sorry, I'm not trying to belittle your point. I'm going to get back to your point. Your point is very serious. But when you said Twilight Zone, it reminded me of CBS. And then CBS tomorrow, Star Trek Discovery is coming out with season 3. And I am a huge Trekkie. So everything is bad. We are living in a Twilight Zone, but at least we have that. I know I probably lost 100 people follow me right there. Let me see how many people left. Only about 30. I don't want y'all here anyway. I'm joking. Here we go. Let's keep going. Mean Bean says, hey. Mean Bean says, hey, where the white women at? I'm not going to be able to read all y'all comments, man. Y'all be putting me in a precarious position. Bridget Graham on YouTube said, I'm enormously embarrassed by white suburban women. We got that one. Glad to say that one again. Amanda Rutherford said, the irony is not lost when people on Fox News criticize the media, when Fox News is in fact as media as you can get. Right? It's that kind of swift boating, that disingenuousness and that kind of propaganda that really speaks volumes about where we are in this country and where we are in our human development, because that's just not something germane to America. That's germane to the cognitive dissonance that people, I mean, they go through mental contortions, mental gymnastics that would rival Olympians in order to justify in their brain why Fox News, oh, that's not really media. That's the good media. Everybody else is the bad media. Donald Trump says the media is the enemy of the people, but not Fox News until he doesn't like them anymore. And then they're the enemy of the people too. That's the weird, twisted Twilight Zone world that we're living in. Shout out to Moni Lou 78. Thank you for that super chat. Christine Kitchens, thank you for your super chat. I really appreciate it. Money Lou 78. Thank you for a second super chat. And you asked, how do I figure out if my vote counted? Oh, it's a difficult question, and definitely difficult. I mean, it's dependent on your state by state level. Anastasia Beaver House. To this day, this is what she said. To this day, I can't remember if I voted for Hillary or Jill Stein. I was so anxious about this vote that I think I have blocked it out of my memory hole. I think I voted for HRC, ? I am registered and will reluctantly vote for Biden. And listen, we talked about the true reality of this coalition. The coalition that we have right now is a coalition that is one of excited Joe Biden supporters, like specifically Joe Biden, not even the Kamala supporters, but you have people who are genuinely excited about Joe Biden. I don't know how or why, but they are. And then you have a lot more people who are probably excited about Kamala Harris. I get it. And then you have a lot of people who are just reluctant. And we're like me, who see the moral imperative to get rid of Donald Trump. So I'll just bite the bullet. I'll take it on the chin. We'll lose followers. We'll get people calling us sellout, getting people calling us neoliberals. We don't care. That's fine. We have a moral imperative to get rid of Donald Trump. And that's the nature of the coalition. Some people are excited about Joe Biden. More people are excited about Kamala Harris. But more of us just don't like, we're just like, But we're doing what we got to do. We're doing what we got to do, and we're going to continue doing what we have to do to get rid of Donald Trump. So thank you for that, being willing to do that, Anastasia. Charlene Ann said, my hubs voted for him, but won't again. Voted for him because he wasn't a politician and no platform to lie about. I lost my career to COVID. Wow. Travel and entertainment industry. Wow. I'm so sorry about that. And make sure your husband makes up for it, and not just by him voting for Joe Biden, but by him convincing. Ask your husband, tell your husband, use your husband, work your husband, work him, and get him to find 10 of his friends that formerly voted for Trump to go and vote for Joe Biden. April, if it's possible. It might not be possible. April Gully says, why? Racism, capitalism, and ego. By the way, this $5 for your beautiful little thumbs. I have a few of my own. Hashtag HU. Is that Howard University? Hashtag Gobison. Gob is son. I'm not sure about that last hashtag, but thank you. That particular $5 will go to my little hooligans who joined us on my stream today on YouTube. My kids terrorized me. They took over the show. Nobody even cared about what I was saying about it anymore. I was out there grilling. I was grilling lunch and dinner, and actually lunch and dinner for the next 3 days. Cause like the reason I grill in the middle of the day is cause I would grill for like 5 days and we'll freeze it. In the middle of me grilling and streaming, talking politics, my kids came out there and just took over, started making fun of me. My daughter said my head was sweating. And when I looked at it, it was just shining in the sun. My son came and started imitating me and mocking me, and the audience was loving it. Y'all loved it. I loved it too. Andy Capon said, thank you for the super chat. He says, so grateful for you tonight, Ben. Andy, I'm grateful for you. Honestly, I'm grateful for this time that we can share together. PunchCat07, thank you for the super chat. Said, trillions to Wall Street. Even before the virus, they were getting billions to prop up the market. And this is the sad reality. Michelle Fiddlemans, thank you for that. She said, ice cream for all. And based on the super chat amount, you're saying ice cream not just for me, but for all. You're saying for all my entire family. But I don't want to give them any ice cream. I want to get the keto ice cream just for me. Thank you. I will make sure that the kids get the ice cream. Thank you for that. Reverend Donna, you run with us in the mornings, don't you? I'm pretty sure that's you. She said, please, 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 people, get out and vote. Don't be intimidated. Ain't nobody going to turn me around. Now, Rev, you know I know how to say that properly. Ain't nobody going to turn me around. I know how to say it properly. I just was reading too fast, and I have a tendency to read things backwards. But please, 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 go vote. I have been, speaking of, this is a great segue. Let's take a look at this video of people voting in Georgia. Because I have been thoroughly Like, you all are brave. I'm still waiting on my gas mask to go out here and vote. Because, well, y'all are brave. That's all I got to say. This is a clip from Democracy Now! With people who are voting right now.
On Tuesday, early voting got underway in Texas with massive crowds waiting in line for hours. Similar scenes played out in Georgia Monday as early voting got underway there. Meanwhile, a federal court in Texas upheld a directive by Republican Governor Greg Abbott limiting ballot drop boxes sites to 1 per county, including Harris County, home to 4.5 million people, a disproportionate number of whom are Democratic voters. California's Republican Party has admitted to deceiving voters by placing dozens of falsely labeled drop boxes for mail-in ballots in Los Angeles, Fresno, and Orange counties. California's Secretary of State has sent cease and desist orders to Republican officials warning anyone distributing phony mail-in ballot boxes could be subject
to prosecution. Can I play that last part again, please?
Placing dozens of falsely... California's Republican Party has admitted to deceiving voters by placing dozens of falsely labeled drop boxes for mail-in ballots in Los Angeles, Fresno, and Orange counties. California's Secretary of State has sent cease and desist orders to Republican officials warning anyone distributing phony mail-in ballot boxes could be subject.
Folks, first of all, shout out to everyone in this video who's out there early voting, all of you who have gone to early vote. It is going to be record-breaking numbers. I think Donald Trump didn't take into consideration that all of his voter suppression techniques has really pushed everyone to using the one technique that they can't deny and just doing it early, which is voting in person. So the numbers are like, and then even before that, so many people had already mailed in their ballots. It's unbelievable, the response of the people. But can I just say how sadistic and utterly evil you have to be dropping off phony drop boxes in order to suppress the vote? The yin to my yang. I try to be joyous. The reason I work so hard to be joyous is because the yin to my yang is rage. I'm always angry. I am always furious because our country is so damn absurd. The fact that we have a political party that is so committed to disenfranchising so many people. They are so committed to maintaining power. They don't care what they have to do. They have been passing out phony drop boxes in order to collect ballots, obviously for the purposes of making those ballots disappear. The appropriate response to that is one that I cannot give on air. The better response to that is for everybody to go find 20 somebodies to crush these people, voting them into oblivion. We gotta try. If it doesn't work, then I can tell you about my other solution that I won't even say on air right now. But first things first, setting all that aside, find 20 people to vote. Vote.org. 20 people to go vote. Vote early. Vote early. Because we need to crush these people. We need to make them pay such a political price that not only will they not ever think about doing it again, but they won't be in a position of power to do it again. Woosah. Woosah. All right, one more clip about voting. Where is that clip? Well, here, let's go with this one. I'm not sure if this one's about voting, but this is my last one in the Dropbox.
How will each of you respond to the death of a student or staff member? Have you thought of that yet? I have. For me, the terms depraved heart and criminally negligent homicide come to mind. Good evening, ladies and germs. And I do mean germs because y'all haven't cleaned this desk off not one time. in between speakers. I'd like to thank this entire board for agreeing to meet in person. During a time when movie theaters and theaters are closed and or viewed as unsafe indoor activities, it is wonderful to know that this board thought the people of Wake County would enjoy a bit of political theater tonight.
I haven't seen this yet.
Since we are engaging in theater here today, I have decided to bring snacks. And no, my weight ain't got nothing to do with these M&Ms being missing. Anyway, since it's perfectly fine for children to eat and drink in my mother's classroom, she's 65, I'm sure that none of you will have a problem as I remove my mask now to eat some of these snacks.
Uh-oh.
Please return my mask on. Oh, that's what I thought. I haven't been tested for COVID or anything, but you did just screen me at the door, right? And those tests are always 100% accurate. So it must be safe for me to take my mask off and eat here. Why can't I? After all, if it's safe for our teachers and students, it must be safe here in this setting.
I haven't seen this yet, but thank you. Whoever this man is, thank you. Let's keep going.
LOLJK, I wrote that. I know it's not safe, do you? Teachers want their students back more than anyone, but their classrooms are tiny. This meeting is in a much larger space than any teacher's classroom. And a classroom will likely have more students in it, sitting more closely together, changing classrooms throughout the day, and eating and laughing with one another. And it will be flu season. This past weekend, a third grade teacher named Julie Davis died in Stanley County, North Carolina. Her family said she contracted COVID at school, but the interim superintendent denies that fact and released a statement saying that students absolutely loved being taught by Miss Davis. Her personality was infectious. Is this what we have to look forward to in the coming months from Wake County? How will each of you respond to the death of a student or staff member? Have you thought of that yet? I have. For me, the terms depraved heart and criminally negligent homicide come to mind. I don't want you to have to risk your life just to keep your job. I never imagined that my concern for your life would leave me powerless to protect my own family. I'm leaving.
Y'all give that man a hand. Y'all give that man a hand. That was they better accept this kind of protest. They won't, but they better. The absurdity of our politicians protecting themselves while putting us at great risk. I just personally, let me say it like this, read between whatever lines you want. If I were to run for office and were elected, I just would never take for granted that I could get away with endangering the lives of millions of people and not fear for my own life. If I was a politician, this is the only way I could probably say this, right? I assume that if I do something to a lot of people that causes them despair, grief, my assumption is if I caused it, then those people will hold me accountable. So I would just be utterly terrified of being an elected official and casually and so cavalierly throwing the lives of teachers, students, janitors, custodians, security guards, forcing them back, essential workers. I would be terrified because I would assume that I would reap what I sow. And if I sow the deaths of 210,000 people, what type of reaping would I reap? So if I were a politician and I ran for office and I got elected, I would do my due diligence to make sure that my constituents were well taken care of, because I wouldn't want them to come after me with pitchforks and torches and a guillotine. I would assume that if I was responsible for killing their family members, that they would seek some retribution on me. But that's just me. Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe I'm just, too nervous and just thinking too hard on it. That's just me. What about you? Would you make that assumption? Would you make the assumption that at a bare minimum, you wouldn't want to be the one directly contributing to the death of your constituents because you may fear the retribution of their family members? That's just how I think. Here's how I also think. I wouldn't do it because they're human beings. This is my yin and my yang. The flip side of it is the truth is, you would never find me putting the lives of people at risk because their lives are just as important as mine. At the end of the day, the nameless person who's working to stock the grocery store right now in my city, his life is just as important to me as the lives of people I know. And so the real reason I would never put somebody's life in danger is because me putting their life in, and this is not a question of, well, would you send people to war? This ain't war. If it's any war, it's a war of stupidity, selfishness, and greed. We're asking people to die on the altar of capitalism. So don't ask me that, oh, you couldn't make the hard decisions. It's not a hard decision. It's actually quite easy. Shut this shit down and save people's lives. Send them a check so that they can consume from home. Send industries that aren't consumable from home checks so that they can survive, and we all live to see another day. It is that simple. Because we create enough wealth in this country to actually have done that every single month. There's no excuse. Canada is doing it. And Canada's a cool state, it's a cool country. I might evacuate America and go there. But Canada don't got money like we do. What are we doing with our money? We're giving it to the wealthy. So it's not just the fact that I would assume as a leader that if I was directly responsible for the deaths of 210,000 people, that I would receive reciprocity from the masses. That's not the real reason why I wouldn't risk the lives of my constituents. The real reason is because their lives are just as valuable as mine. And clearly we have a twofold, two-tiered sociopathic set of leaders. One, not only do they not look at other people's lives, the lives of that grocery worker that they'll never know, never meet, and they don't see that inherently valuable life. Sociopaths. But two, they think they can get away with murder. They think that they can get away with murder. Now, I'll be grilling tomorrow. I don't know. I'll put something on the grill. I have my kids outside. We're going to jump on this here trampoline, and we're going to be family-like. We're going to do all those things because that's the kind of America I want. I want an America where everybody can have a backyard. It ain't a big backyard. I got a backyard. If you watch the YouTube show, you see the trampoline takes up the majority of the backyard. But I got a backyard. I want to go out there. I would much rather, that's where we want to be. Everybody have a corner of a piece of land on their little corner of the universe where they can have some peace and solitude. That's where I want us to go. That's where I want us to always exist. Let's be in that happy space. But if they keep pushing us, y'all, if they keep neglecting, it's beyond negligence. If they keep recklessly endangering the lives of their voters, of their constituents, I fear that the reprisal will be commensurate with the trauma, the amount of trauma that we have endured in 2019. Because at some point, there is a breaking point. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. But it does exist. I'm going to put this on the board. This brother said, one law spirit. Thank you for saying, I didn't forget it. I saw you say it earlier. You said, relax, brother, get a glass of wine. I'm fine. Listen, I appreciate everyone's concern. Somebody else said, breathe. It is 100% controlled rage at this point. 100% angry all the time. All the time. It's like, I had to learn. I have a rage problem. I don't know if you could tell. I've had it all my life, and I've been managing it and just controlling it. But the thing that actually deserves all of our rage are the gross injustices that we're seeing right now. I've got the cap on top of it. Y'all just let me know when we need to pop that thing off and let this thing pop off. But in the meantime, we're going to be in the backyard tomorrow. Another point, somebody said they wish they had a backyard. I promise you, can I tell you something? I want to close on this note because what time is it? Hour 25 in. It's 10:37. I need to be asleep by 11 because we get up every morning. We have more and more people who are running with us. And it's not just running. We have people who are moving. We call it We Moving. WeMoving.life. Go to WeMoving.life. I keep talking about it, but I'm actually going to type it here on the screen. It's going to be kind of corny, but I'm going to do it. Let's see. How do I do it? Anyway, y'all know what I said. MOVIN.life. And you don't have to run. You can walk. You don't have to walk. You can just move your arms. I'm telling you, when I started my health journey back in May, I lie not to you. I was so bad. All I could do was move my arms. And I mean, thankfully, I had a foundation from 10 years ago that helped me move a little faster. But the truth is when I started, all I could do was move my arms. I don't care what condition you're in. A huge side effect of this pandemic is that a lot of us have become sedentary, I believe is the word, even more so than normal. So get up with us at 6 Eastern Standard Time. We start running at 6:15 Eastern Standard Time, and we start moving our bodies at 6:15, like whatever you want to do. We used to call it running with the fellas, but I wanted to be inclusive, all inclusive. It's run by my brother who lost 200 pounds. I lost 70 pounds. He lost 200 pounds. He's got this down to a science, so he's leading us on it, and we got some great music. So I got to end the show in about 4 minutes so I can go get into bed. I want to leave you on this note. And before I do this, I want everybody to say hello to somebody or say goodnight to somebody. Show somebody a kindness. Show somebody, just be kind, be cordial, because when we can be kind, we really need to be kind. And we need this community to grow. We need that love. We need that affirmation. It's too important. So many of us don't get it in our day-to-day lives. I take a lot of things for granted. I can't assume that everyone is surrounded by as much love as I'm surrounded by. And I have been surrounded by. I've been surrounded by love my entire life. So I don't know how to do anything but rage and love. I live in the extremes. I'm either happy or I'm enraged, but I've been surrounded by love. And because I've been surrounded by American injustices, I'm 100% always angry. But I can't take for granted that there are people who, and you shouldn't either, that people who don't have that. But we can provide that. Love is inexpensive. Kindness is free. Let me take that back. Love can be pretty expensive, but kindness is free. Be kind to somebody in the chat room before I finish up for the night. That's it. I see it. Y'all be kind to somebody. And I want to leave on this note. The genuine 100% true reason why I do what I do is not because of politics. I find American politics and human politics to be extremely petty, short-sighted, incomplete, and insufficient to do what needs to be done for humanity to thrive in the long run. When I say long run, I'm not talking about 50 years. I'm talking about the long run. I hate American politics. I don't do this for the sake of American politics. I do this for the sake of what needs to be done in order for us to thrive in the long run. And in order for us to thrive in the long run, we must understand that we have a responsibility to each other. We must reject the individualism that is taught to us and we're indoctrinated with in this country every single day. We must reject individualism and embrace collectivism. We absolutely must, because we have a responsibility to each other, if for no other reason than the fact that we cannot make it without each other. We cannot. A billionaire thinks that he can, but the fact of the matter is he simply cannot, because he's not a billionaire without us. We must reject the individualism that is breeded into us, that we are indoctrinated with, and embrace collectivism, because we need each other. We must reject the greed of this system. There is a threshold of need. We have to reject greed, but we can't ask people who don't have a sufficient life to be satisfied when you're still struggling just to pay your rent, just to be able to feed your kids. You're out here working your butt off and you're struggling just to survive. And someone would turn to you and say that you need to find a way to be therein, to be content, to be satisfied. No. You know who needs to be satisfied? The people who have made greed their God. The millionaires, the billionaires, the oligarchs, the ruling elite, the rich, the famous, the celebrity, the superstar, the politician. They need to be satisfied. We have to reject greed, because if we don't, greed and individualism will destroy us. Which brings me full circle to the person who said they wish they had a backyard. The fact of the matter is that we absolutely generate enough wealth in this country. Every single one of us. You, I don't care how much you make. I don't care how much you don't make. I don't care how much you work. I don't care how much you don't work. The mere fact that you're online right now watching this stream means that you are exchanging your data in order for some or multiple Silicon Valley companies to generate billions of dollars in wealth every single quarter. So whether or not you actually physically go out to work is immaterial, because your participation in this system generates wealth. And so all of us collectively create enough wealth to ensure that every single person in this country has a place to live, has access, no, not access, has a doctor, has food to eat, has an education through college. No reason anybody should be going into debt for college. Not when we generate this much wealth. And you could choose the last one, but it's either a living income. No, leave it there. A living income. We collectively have generated and created enough wealth in this country to ensure that every single person in this country has that. To make sure that every single person has a backyard where they can have their own solitude and their own peace. However they define their family. How you define your family ain't none of my business. It's none of their business. But however you define your family, you have earned it by the sheer virtue of your participation. They profit off of your participation. Right now, they're profiting off of you watching this stream. They profit off of your labor, working directly to help them. Amazon is not Amazon without its hundreds of thousands of employees. They profit off of your consumption. Amazon and Walmart and all these companies are not what they are without you consuming. They profit off of your taxes. The government does not exist without your consent to be governed, but also your taxes. And so since this system simply does not work without our participation, our consumption, our labor, and our taxes, we create every bit of wealth here. Therefore, every single person in this country deserves a baseline of living that gives them a place to live, food to eat, an education, medication, and a livable wage, and a living income, whether they work or not. Universal basic income. Because we can. I heard somebody say, why should we do it? Because we can. Because we should. And because that is what is going to be required for us to go beyond the pettiness of American politics and get into the politics that will transcend our ridiculous fatuousness and actually provide the baseline for humanity to survive in the long run. So all that came from the person who said they wish they had a backyard. You know what? I want you to have that backyard. Because we create enough. You helped us create enough wealth for you, every one of you, to have your own little piece of land. We're easily satisfied. If y'all like, this looks glamorous. If you saw my house, you'll be like, oh, it's quaint. And you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I could buy my kids ice cream now. I'm good. And because so many people don't know how to be fucking satisfied, excuse me, because they just continuously give in to greed. Because we have built an entire system rooted in greed. Where we have a system where everyone could thrive. We're settling for a system where so many people can barely survive. We've created a system of haves and have-nots when we clearly generate enough wealth where everyone can have enough. I'm going to leave it to my producer to do the raid over on Twitch. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. We're done. I do want to read these last few super chats, and then we're out of here. Actually, if you no, I'm gonna read them. Tam I am says, why isn't this on the mainstream news? Shouldn't everyone know about the fake drop boxes? They should. Jules T said, just finished listening to Greg Palast at TYT. Voter suppression is kicking hard. We need to be informed and engaged. Please do. Black Corvo said, vote first, revolt after the nomination, the inauguration. Isa Witch, I like that. Isa Witch, 120. In California, your ballot comes with a list of legit boxes in your county. So I don't know what they thought they might gain by setting up fake boxes. Agreed. Nefty Barika said, I already voted. If Donald Trump wins, I'm moving out of the suburbs to a hobby farm. Already planning to do that by next spring. I love it. Jeremy the Black, subscribe with Prime. Thank you for subscribing with Prime. Charlie Sunshine said, thank you for all your work and being you. You got me crying and laughing tonight. Good night. Salute. Zotar the Magnificent said, the power of love. I love y'all more. Love each other. Olive Branch, thank you for the super chat. Robert M, peace and love. Brother Dixon, back at you. And Cam says, Swiss instituted $25 an hour minimum wage. Yo, thank you. I'm glad we're closing on that super chat. Let me see all this hair on my shirt. Smack Talk 94 gifted a tier 1 sub. Thank you for doing that. Cam, I'm going to close on yours. Swiss instituted a $25 minimum wage. That's because they generate enough wealth to do that. And we generate a whole lot more wealth than they do. So what can we do? I want to, I'm just pausing long enough to see if we got the, to make sure that we have the raid. We want to raid. Who we're raiding tonight, Twitch? Who are we raiding tonight? K Swiftly, is that who we're raiding? I see a name. I see it. Okay, they did it. They just sent it. Awesome. Awesome. Did we drop? Good night, everybody. Take care of yourself. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, I see left is best. We'll do left is best. We'll keep them on our list. And I want to put Mars on the screen. Peace to all. Good night.